Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us now to talk about all of this is Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. And he is a former U.S. Navy lieutenant commander. He is also the president and founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy and also running for Congress there in Arizona as a Republican. Dr. Jasser, it's really great to have you back here. I can't think of anybody better than you. You have been like sounding the alarm. How concerned should we be?
Well, Rita, thanks for having me. And, this is one of the reasons I'm running is we need to flip the script on these guys. And when I testified to Congress back from when Peter King had me in 2011, I said, listen, it's not just about Muslim radicalization. The red-green axis, as you heard Gordon talking about, the CCP, the socialists of the planet are working with the Islamists hand in hand. And it's not just about radicalizing Muslims. They will radicalize the far left. And that's what the BLM movement was all about. The software began being uploaded by Obama. It was then 2.0 software with Biden. And now it got to 3 and 4.0 with the Democratic Socialists of America, with complete takeover of the hardware of the Democratic Party as the Schumers and AOCs of the world take their orders from the radical Islamists of the DSA. Hamawi, supposedly a physician, yet was translating for the blind sheikh, knew exactly what he was translating before 93 as a medical student. You saw Aisha Wahab now taking Swalwell's seat. So here you have Swalwell's seat go from the CCP seat to now being an Islamist seat. And these folks, who was raising money for these candidates from El Sayed in Michigan, who just got Van Hollen's endorsement, raising money was Hassan Piker. Millions of followers of Piker, where he's espousing anti-American, unpatriotic, just horrific genocidal nonsense, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic stuff that he's radicalizing our youth. And they're mobilized, they're funded, and there's no doubt that it's just a movement that is trying to destroy us from our root. And if people are worried about where we're headed, look at where London and Europe has headed. Sadiq Khan has been the mayor of London for over 10 years, and you've seen now dismantling of their terror programs, socialization, where even their prime minister, who was far left, had to resign this past week. So this is where the United States is headed. If the Democratic Party doesn't have – they can't even keep the few rational ones like Dan Goldman around anymore because they've been hijacked by this parasite, which is the Marxist jihadist axis.
Doctor, we were talking about it before. Did this all start when the President Obama, and got worse under President Biden?
Absolutely. And this is when people say this didn't happen overnight. The DEI program, where you turn an ideology, which is political Islam, into a race, which it's not. It's an ideology. And yet they racialized it and infantilized Muslims where, if you criticize them, it's all about, anti-Muslim bigotry. No, it's not. This is an ideology that's incompatible with Westernism, incompatible with Americanism, but yet they brought it in. Remember, President Obama was sitting in the pews of a church that was basically saying, damn America, etc. So whether it's the black liberation theology or political Islam, it's anti-American. And that anti-Americanism is rooted in bringing in the loss of property rights, the loss of free market systems, the takeover. And this is why I, as a physician, have seen my own profession socialized, where you see vertical consolidation in the healthcare market. And if you look at most Marxist manuals, it says take over 20% of the economy and you can take over the country. And that's what happened with healthcare. Obamacare was about taking over the economy, helping the Democrat socialists talk about Medicare for all. So the AOCs of the world are saying some of the same things I am about Wall Street healthcare, which is not free markets, because there's no price transparency. There's no meritocracy in healthcare. My small practice is suffering as we fight against the Uniteds and huge healthcare companies of the planet that Obama operationalized.
Yeah, you're right. There's so many layers there, Zuhdi. You're right. There are so many layers. Judge Weinberg.
Doctor, thank you very much for being on. It's a pleasure to talk with you. My concern is, and you understand the reference, this is a cancer, and it's spreading, and it seems to have a momentum. So how do we fight back against this to stop it? Because they're taking over city by city. You have the local DAs, you have the city councils, you have the mayors. We're really a country divided as we go into our 250th anniversary. And this is very troubling because momentum is there, and it's getting worse.
I'm so glad you asked that, because this is how we get our country back, is by saying, listen, it's not just about the red states. It's not, if we love our blue states just as much as we love our red states, then we have to work with the independents, people who split their tickets, people who start to look at the 80-20 issues and say, what is it that we love about being American? It's the meritocracy. It's the secure borders. It's the identifying who our voters are and not letting folks who aren't even Americans vote in our elections. Getting the things that we agree on, which is, defining what a man and a woman is, what the family is, things that are not really debatable, that our founding fathers didn't debate too much because it's what brought us together, the things that make us American and make us exceptional. Political Islamists don't believe in American exceptionalism. They believe in Islamic exceptionalism, which is the enemy to me as a devout Muslim. I don't want to live under theocracy. Our founding fathers fought against that. And the Marxists brought with them the Islamists to destroy what it is to be American. And there's no year better to remember that than our 250th anniversary. And I promise you, there's a lot of candidates across the country that are centrist that don't want to see the extreme of the far left destroy the economics and the principles of what it means to be American.
I've asked you this before, but it's so important right now, Zuhdi, that I think about how come there are not more Muslims speaking out like you? And I go back, I think of a moment right after 9/11. I was in Dubai, and I remember I went to a mosque because they said, you couldn't come as a visitor. I went, and I remember asking the imam there, because he was condemning what happened at 9/11, but he said right away, I said, how come we're not seeing more speak out? What you just said was a nice, peaceful message. Why are we not seeing more on the streets condemning what happened on 9/11 to America? So we just don't do that. And that to me was like, but why are we not seeing more like you real quick, Zuhdi?
Well, because we have to have the fire under our feet. 80 million Iranians are speaking up because their country is being decimated by terrorists and the IRGC. God willing, the United States doesn't head in that direction, but if the Marxist jihadists get control, you will see more come. And I think ultimately we have a coalition called Clarity Coalition, which we've been building a larger group of Muslims, former Muslims, Jews, Christians, folks who really want to save the West. That's what our Clarity Coalition is champions for liberty against the reality of Islamist tyranny. And we just need to wake up people to want to save our country and get candidates in office. That's why I'm running. My website is Z4AZ, Z4AZ.com, and we can prosecute this case, and there's just not enough Muslims to prosecute it. And last, I would say, Gordon pointed it out, the money is being drowned into the far-left extremists so that they drown out our voices, which just don't have the same amount of fuel as the voices of the far extremists on the left.
Well, Dr. Zuhdi, thank you for coming on today, and
great. Keep
we'll have
speaking
you on
out
again, and keep speaking out. And
yeah,
let's get the right thing done for America.